If you watched my last video, you're probably wondering, okay, Mr. W, so how do we do these magic tricks of yours? The answer starts with just one button. It's my favorite button on the calculator, and it will be yours too. I could have given this video a clickbait title like, "This one simple trick destroys the Regents exam," if I was trying to hack the YouTube algorithm. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for hacking the Regents. It's worth pointing out right here at the start that the calculator you're using isn't just a simple device for doing basic math. It's really a handheld computer, and it can do a lot of the things a computer can do. It has literally hundreds of functions. It's programmable. It can even run video games. I only mention this to help you understand that this is a very powerful piece of hardware if you know how to use it. A calculator will always give you an answer, even if that answer is just to tell you it didn't understand what you asked. The goal is to get it to give you the right answer, and the store button is the first step on that path. The store button is just above the on button on the TI calculators, and it says STO. That's short for store, as in, hey calculator, store this number for me. And it works a little differently from most operator buttons you're probably used to. First, you key in the number you want to store, then you press store, and then you tell the calculator where in its memory to store it. At first, you're just going to store it into the variable x, which is done by pressing the X button and then pressing enter. I can show you now that x equals 2. Notice that when I enter x plus 3, I get 5. And if I hit clear, still 2. Unless I clear the memory entirely or enter a new value into x, it will stay the value I've put in. And that's it. You can now store any value into x. Now, if you're paying attention, you will note that I am not actually using the TI-83 calculator that I mentioned in the first video. I realized that it's better to use the TI-84, and since I don't have one on hand, I'm using a virtual one, which is really handy. This one is accessible at ti84calc.com. Go there and press on the launch button, and you'll have your TI-84 calculator. So, here we are at a couple of practice examples for storing. If you'd like to practice that store button so you've got it locked in, that's a really handy thing to do. Let's try this first one together, and then you can pause the video and try some of these on your own. Doesn't matter what variable is given on the paper. You're just going to use x every time. There will be later videos where I use more than one variable, and I'll show you how to do those then. But for now, every variable you see, we're just going to pretend it's x. So I'm going to store 9 here into x, not a. So we press 9, store, x, enter. And now just x squared. There's my x button. This is the square button. Enter, 81. Nice and easy, right? So try the next couple of these. Pause the video, and I'll be back to you in 3, 2, 1. Did you get them? Let's take a look. So we need to store 10 into m, or x in this case. 10, store x, enter, 5x squared. 5x, again square, enter. Did you get 500? I hope you did. Okay, let's try the next two together, and then we'll just sort of run through the answers on the rest. C here, 2x squared of x is 3, so 3, store x, and enter, and then 2x squared. Boom, 18. Now notice the next one has parentheses around it. Even though the x is the same and the expression is the same, except for that, we are going to get a different answer, because in this case, you're going to multiply 2 times x because of the parentheses before you square. So the one previously squared 3 and then doubled it. This is going to double 3 to 6 and then square it, which means you're going to get not 18, but 36. Right? Same thing for E and F. For E, you should have gotten 150, whereas for F, you should have gotten 900 because of the parentheses. Now on G, and H and I, you need to raise to a power other than the second power. If you're not sure how to do that, this button right here will do it for you. So for instance, G is y to the third if y is 4. So we go 4, store, x, and now we go x, and to the third power. So we're going to hit this button right here, above division and just below clear. And now I can just put in a 3 and enter, and I get 64. All right. Same thing for H. It's going to be x to the third, so that's 3 to the third, which is 27 times 2, 54. And I is 2 to the fourth, which is going to be 16, and 16 times 3 is going to be 48. If you got all those, great, you're all good to go for some solving. So let's do some solving. A note here on solving, by the way. Every problem I'm going to show you throughout this series is from an actual Regents exam for Algebra 1 from the last 5 years. So every problem you see is the same type of problem you should expect to see on your Algebra 1 exam. This one is very common. We've got an expression right here, and we're being asked to find what's equivalent to it. Now that key word is equivalent. What that means is this. Any two expressions that are equivalent, if you put the same number into both, the output, the result from both, will also be the same. And that's the key to solving here. I put any number into store. I don't want to use a really small number, like anything between -2 and +2 is actually potentially dangerous because it means I could potentially get an equivalent value for that one value of x, even though the two expressions are not actually equivalent. So you want to put in a number like 3, or your favorite number, assuming your favorite number isn't 0, 1, or 2. Pick 7, pick 9, pick 103, doesn't matter. Just not anything between -2 and +2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with just 3 because it's a nice simple number. 3 store x. Now I'm going to take that original expression in the problem and I'm going to put that into the calculator. 49 x squared minus 36. Now, I got 405. That's key. If I was doing this on paper, I'd actually write this down. I can put it here. That is my target number. That is to say, the expression that is equivalent to this will also give me 405 as a result when I type that expression in. So now all I have to do is type these expressions, these answers, one at a time until I get 405. And when I get 405, I found the correct answer. Let's see. So, we make mistakes sometimes. That's all right. I keep hitting X and not doing that. I'm hitting X on my keyboard instead of on the screen. Silly me. Okay. 7x minus 6 squared. Enter. That's not 405. That's not the answer. 24.5 x minus 18 squared. That's definitely not 405. Let's go to number 3. 7x minus 6 times, by the way, the calculator automatically knows to do multiplication here. As a general rule, you can put in exactly what's on the paper as it is. There are exceptions to this, very small ones, and I will point those out as we go along. Boom, 405. That was my target number. Therefore, my correct answer is number 3. I could put in number 4 to double check if I wanted. I've got plenty of time on these because look, this only took me about 30 seconds and I've got my answer. All I had to do was type in a few things and I didn't have to do any actual calculating. It's very handy. Let's try another one. Before we do, I just want to point out, if you do number 1 and it doesn't give you a correct answer, and you do number 2 and it doesn't give you a correct answer, if you do number 3 and it doesn't give you a correct answer, do not just assume that number 4 is correct. It's possible you've typed something in wrong. So if 1, 2, and 3 are all wrong, definitely try number 4. And if all of them don't match your target number, then you know something was done wrong on your end. I promise you, this works 100% of the time. So if none of them match, you've put something in the calculator wrong. But that's about the only way this can go wrong, which is nice. So we start again with our target number by putting in our original expression, y to the 4th minus 100 in this case. So x, and again, to the power of, right here, 4. And then we want to hit right arrow to come out of that exponent. Otherwise, it's going to be minus 100 up in the exponent. We don't want that. So we come down, and now we go minus 100 and enter. Okay, my target number is negative 19. Here we go. X squared minus 10 squared. That's not negative 19. We go to the next one. All right. By the way, I'm going to show you a really nice trick on the TI-84. This doesn't work on the 83. I don't know if it works on all other calculators, but I know it works on the 84. I don't have to rewrite my whole expression because I can go up and highlight this and then press enter. I've copied and pasted. Your calculator has a copy-paste function, just like a computer. And now I can just go back to where the 10 is and replace that 10 with a 50 by returning the 1 into a 5. Boom. And I've rewritten the whole thing by rewriting just a single number. That's also not negative 19, clearly. So we go to the number 3. X squared plus 10 x squared, minus 100. Don't have to clear your whole calculator, by the way. There is a delete button right here. I can delete just a single thing and continue on. Don't waste time rewriting everything when you can just sort of edit it quickly. Hey, negative 19. So once again, my answer is number 3. And this time I'll show you that number 4 doesn't work since we have the time to do it. It does not take that long. X squared plus 50 x squared minus 50 and enter. Definitely not negative 19. There you go. I'd like you to try this one on your own. Notice, by the way, at first, it looks complicated. There's 19% rate. There's the word depreciate, which you may or may not know what it means. Doesn't matter. Here's the only thing that matters. It asks which one is equivalent. So we have a starting function, and we're asking which one is equivalent to that original function, which means we're going to get our target number by typing in 15,000 times 0.81 to the power of x in this case. Don't worry about the v equals. That's one of those instances where we're not going to type in what's on the screen or on our paper. The other one being, in this case, we are not going to put in that comma. If you put a comma in for thousands or millions in your calculator will not read that number correctly. So you're going to put in 15,000 as 15000, and then parentheses 0.81. You could leave the 0 off there, by the way. 0.81 is exactly the same. And then to the power of, and yes, you can use your variable as an exponent. So that's my target number. And I don't, by the way, have to write it on my paper or put it on there. I can go down on my screen and go back up my screen and scroll back up to find it later if I need to. It's also the case that the wrong answers will not give me a value anywhere close to this one. So I can be reasonably confident that just if I get something that's 7,971, I've found the right answer. The other thing to point out here, on the TI-84, things like 9t as my exponent will work just fine, right? So to give you an example, to show you, if I copy and paste this, and now I go back up to the x there, and I turn it into 9x, it works just fine. However, on the TI-83 and some other calculators, if it doesn't actually raise your exponent like this, but gives you just a little up symbol like that, any exponent that's more than a single character other than just a number or a variable, you need to put it into parentheses. So in other words, on the TI-83 for this, I would have to go, by the way, watch this, insert, second delete to insert. I don't have to rewrite it. I just insert that parentheses, and then I go to the right, and I add the right parentheses. On the 84, you can do it. It's not going to change your answer at all. But on the TI-83, if you do not use the parentheses, the calculator will give you a different value other than the value you should actually get. So go ahead and try these, and I'll pause the video, and we'll look at the answer in 3, 2, 1. If you got number 2, you got it right. Good job. You can see 7971.615. Okay, let's go ahead and try another one. The only additional thing I want to say about this one is that you'll notice there's 2 sets of brackets here. You're still going to, on the calculator, just use the regular parentheses. Don't try to use this shape brackets. This is one of those things where if you copy what's on the paper, it won't actually be read by the calculator correctly. So it's okay to use a bracket and then some information and then another bracket at the end, assuming you have the same number of brackets at the beginning, which I don't here, but I can do that. And that, and it will read it correctly. The idea is just so that it's supposed to actually make things easier to read, so that you know that this bracket goes with this one, or this bracket here goes with this one, and not say with that one. It's not a big deal. Just always use these brackets. Go ahead and do this one, and we'll look at the answer in 3, 2, 1. You should have gotten through all 4 of these and found that the answer is number 4. If you did, you're on your way to solving a whole lot of problems on the Regents really easily. Good for you. Okay, last 3 for this video. Again, go ahead and try them. Notice the last one does not have the word equivalent in it, but it says is. Is math for equals, which is the same as equivalent, basically. So this is one of these. That means it is equivalent. Go ahead and solve these 3, and I'll give you the answers in 3, 2, 1. And here's our correct answers. If you've gotten all of these correct so far, again, you're absolutely on your way to passing the Algebra 1 Regents. Hacking successful. That'll do it for today. Enjoy, and I'll be back with another video soon.